Hello students, welcome to the Biological Life Sciences channel. Today we are going to see PCR applications and its types in details. So let's study the PCR. PCR is a polymerase chain reaction. It's a technique used in molecular biology to amplify a single copy or a few copies of a segment of a DNA across several orders of magnitude. Means a single copy of DNA can be amplified to large number and its number can be increased and used in different applications in biology. Let's see the history. It was developed by PCR was developed by Kary Mullis in 1983 and it's a common technique used in clinical and research laboratories for a broad variety of applications. For this discovery and invention, Kary Mullis in 1993 was awarded with the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for his work. Let's see what are the different components that are involved in PCR. First of all, there is a DNA template. This sequence is the target sequence which we want to amplify. So this sequence will be amplified in n number of times as we want. Then next is DNA polymerase. The DNA polymerase that is used in PCR is a very specific DNA polymerase. It sequentially adds nucleotide to the complementary template strand, extending the 3' OH group which is offered by the primer here. And the most commonly used DNA polymerase, that is Heath stable, is stacked DNA polymerase isolated from a species called as Thermus aquaticus. This is a thermophilic bacterium. The enzyme produced by this is thermostable because the bacteria is highly thermally stable. Another polymerase, that is PFU, that is DNA polymerase from Pyrococcus furiosus, is also widely used. The problem is that the tagged DNA polymerase is having no proofreading activity, but here PFU polymerase is having a proofreading activity and a high fidelity. Therefore, this is used in recent cases of PCR. Mg2 positive ions in the buffer also acts as a cofactor for the DNA polymerase, hence its addition is important. Let's see the primer next. The primers are very important because for the amplification of the DNA strand, the free 3' OH group is required and this is provided by the primers. These are the synthetic DNA strands of about 18 to 25 nucleotides. These are complementary to the template strand, and DNA polymerase starts synthesizing the new DNA using the ends of the primer, that is the 3' end. There are two primers that must be designed for the PCR because the template DNA is double stranded in nature. One primer will be forward primer and the second primer will be reverse primer. The forward primer is complementary to the 3' end of the antisense 3' to 5' strand, and the reverse primer is complementary to the 3' end of 5' to 3' sense strand. So if we consider these sense strand, that is 5' to 3' of the gene for designing primers, then forward primer is in the beginning of the gene and reverse primer is at the end of the gene. So likewise, both the primers has to be added at starting and end. The primer design, it should bind to the template with good specificity and strength, means the optimum length of the primer should be there. It should have a optimum ratio of guanine and cytosine to adenine and thymine, and if it does not bind correctly to the template, then the wrong sequence get amplified. Therefore, the primer's optimal concentration, optimal sequence ratio and other things are very important in PCR. The primer length should be short also, should not be long enough, because if the primer is long enough, it can form this kind of secondary structures. So the long length of the primer must be avoided, and if there are presence of complementary sequences between the two primers, that is one primer for each DNA strand, the primer will hybridize with each other. Okay, so this can happen, therefore forming a primer dimer and will not be available for binding to the template strand. So therefore there will be a formation of hairpin loop structure and the amplification of the DNA will not be done. Therefore, in such cases, the complementary sequence having primers is avoided because it can form a secondary structure. The primer should be preferably ending with guanine and cytosine sequences so that it can attach with sufficient strength with the template, and this also increases the efficiency of priming due to the stronger bonding or hydrogen bonding between guanine and cytosine. Run of 3 or more cytosine or guanine at the 3' end should be avoided. This may promote mispairing or mispriming also. As adenine and thymine base pairs are with less number of hydrogen bonds, so this should be avoided because this will weaken the hold of the primer onto the template DNA. Let's see the next component, that is nucleotide DNTPs. Different DNTPs, that is adenine, guanine, cytosine and uracil, and thymine in case of DNA if required is added into the mixture. The concentration of all the 4 DNTPs that is being added into the mixture should be equal. The magnesium is a very important cofactor for the DNA polymerase enzyme. It affects the primer annealing and template denaturation as well as enzyme activity. So an excess of magnesium also gives specific amplification, non-specific amplification product, while low magnesium yields lesser amount of desired product. So optimum concentration of magnesium should be there inside the PCR tube. It also affects the primer annealing and template denaturation as well as enzyme activity. So the optimum amount of magnesium must be added. Let's see the components in a whole together. First of all, target DNA, then 2 oligonucleotide primers at both the ends, then DNTPs, that is building blocks, heat stable polymerase that can be from Thermus eclecticus, that is stacked DNA polymerase, or PFU DNA polymerase from Pyrococcus furiosus DNA polymerase that is having a proofreading activity. Another polymerase that can be used here is Wnt polymerase, that is called Thermococcus litoris. This different polymerases can be used in PCR depending on what type of amplification we want. The Taq DNA polymerase, as I told you, lacks the proofreading activity, that is 3' to 5', so it is committed to errors at a rate of 2 into 10 to minus 4. So PFU and Wnt polymerase are more efficient than the Taq polymerase because it has proofreading activity, and the error rate in these 2 polymerases is also low. There is the addition of bivalent cations also that acts as a cofactor, and the buffer solution which maintains the pH and ionic strength of the reaction that is suitable for the functioning of enzyme, just like it is done in cell, live cell. Okay, now let's see the steps that are involved in PCR. The amplification is achieved by 3 steps, namely initial denaturation for the initial separation of single-stranded DNA. Generally, this step is omitted in conventional PCRs, but this step is required because at the starting the template DNA is having a double-stranded nature. So, for proper denaturation, the initial denaturation is done. Generally, it is done at 94 to 98 degrees centigrade. After that, the denaturation step comes. The temperature here ranges from 90 degree to 98 degrees Celsius. Then primer annealing, which is at 40 to 46 or 40 to 60 degrees centigrade. It depends on what kind of primer it is, and the extension temperature is 70 to 75 degree Celsius. But the optimum temperature of the thermostable polymerase is about 72 degrees Celsius. And after that, last step will be final extension, in which the ends that are remaining are replicated or amplified. Let's see these steps in details. First is denaturation. It's the first step, and it involves the thermal denaturation of the DNA by raising the temperature to 95 degree. The polymerase is heat stable at this temperature, so it remains as it is. It does not denature. But the double-stranded DNA here gets denatured into 2 different single strands, breaking the hydrogen bond between them. Then after that, renaturation or primer annealing is there. It is the second step, where the temperature is brought down to 40 to 60 degrees centigrade, where the primer annealing starts both at forward and reverse places. The annealing temperature depends on length of the primer, base sequence of the primer that is being used for amplification, and generally the time is 1 minute. Let's see the last step here, that is extension. It is the step where the temperature is raised to 72 degree. It is the optimum step or optimum temperature for catalytic function of Taq DNA polymerase. DNA synthesis is initiated from 3' end to the 5' end. You can see this graph. It shows the initial denaturation, then annealing temperature, and then extension temperature. This is the graph showing the PCR process. Now let's see what are the different types of PCR. There are few types of PCR that will be discussed here in short. First is conventional PCR, that is qualitative PCR. After that, multiplex PCR, nested PCR, RT-PCR, QRT-PCR, quantitative PCR, hot start PCR, touchdown PCR, assembly PCR, and colony PCR. Let's see one by one. Multiplex PCR, it is a special type of PCR. It is used for detection of multiple pathogen by using multiple primers. So if a single sample is there which is infected by multiple organisms, so you can detect the multiple pathogen by using multiple primers specific for a particular pathogen. This permits the simultaneous analysis of multiple targets in a single sample, and this is generally used in disease diagnosis. These are the graph of or the agarose gel pattern of the multiplex PCR, where different samples are amplified from a single sample, and this can be detected based on the DNA ladder. Let's see now the nested PCR. It is used to increase the specificity of DNA amplification. There are two sets of primers are used in two successive reactions. In the first PCR, one of the pairs of primers is used to generate the DNA product, which will be target for the second reaction. So it is therefore called as nested. The second primer is used for the further amplification then, and using one or hemi nesting or two different primers which binds are located at two different sites, therefore they are called nested within the first state, and thus increasing the specificity. So it helps in detection of pathogens that occurs in a very few amounts, or the undetectable amount of pathogen if there is present inside a sample. Then nested PCR is used, where specific primers are generated from the first PCR, and these specific primers are used in second PCR for the detection of pathogens. Now let's see the RT-PCR, that is reverse transcription PCR, or real-time PCR is also one of the type. Generally nowadays it is used for the detection of the coronavirus infection, because it is generally used to amplify the cDNA that is present, that is synthesized from the reverse transcribing viruses. So it is used to reverse transcribe or amplify RNA to cDNA. PCR is preceded by the reaction. There are two reactions here. First is reverse transcriptase reaction, an enzyme that converts RNA into cDNA, that is RNA from the viruses, and this cDNA is then amplified into the second step, that is PCR. It is it is detection of RNA like virus, for example HCV, coronavirus, HIV, etc. Detection of other microorganisms through targeting ribosomal RNA also can be done. This is the short picture where the RNA of the virus is taken. We know that the RNA is having a AAA poly A tail at the ending, so that can be converted into the cDNA, that is complementary DNA. Now this complementary DNA is converted into double-stranded DNA, and that is used for PCR amplification. Here you can see the first step of RT-PCR, where step 1, this is step 1 where different RNA, then primers, then reverse transcriptase enzyme is added, and the mRNA is converted into cDNA. So after the conversion of mRNA into cDNA, this cDNA is used, and PCR is performed on it, and after the PCR performing, the cDNA product is analyzed onto the agarose gel. Then next is Q real-time PCR. Real-time PCR is one of the most advanced PCR, where detection is used and the amplified DNA fragment is produced in a real-time manner, and it can be diagnosed, it can be checked in a real-time manner. It uses different fluorescent dyes such as SYBR, green, or fluorescence containing DNA probes such as TAC1 to measure the amount of amplified product as the amplification progresses. So as and when required, we can stop the PCR, because the amount of DNA that is amplified can be checked easily, and its amount can be generated graphically easily. So here the graph shows the amount of DNA that is amplified depending on the different types of concentration of different fluorescent dye. The progress of DNA amplification during RT-PCR, that is real-time PCR, this can be measured using fluorescent flashes during amplification. It is a totally computerized process. A computer measures the rate of flashing in 96 simultaneous experimental PCR reactions relative to a control reaction, and it is generated, and the result is generated, and graph is plotted like this. Quantitative PCR, it is used to measure the specific amount of target DNA in the sample by measuring the amplification only within the phase of true exponential increase. The amount of measured product more accurately reflects the initial amount of target. So whatever the DNA you are taking at the starting, what is its amount can also be detected by this PCR. It is called as a quantitative PCR. Here special thermocyclers are used that monitors the amount of PCR during the amplification. Next is hot start PCR. It's a technique that is performed manually by heating the reaction components to the DNA melting temperature, that is 95 degrees centigrade, before adding the polymerase. So DNA is already denatured in this case, and then the polymerase is added. You are doing this to avoid the unspecific interaction of the polymerase with the other strands of the DNA present in the template DNA. So earlier only the denaturation is done, and after denaturation is done, then only the heat stable polymerase is added into the reaction. So therefore this kind of PCR is called hot start PCR, because we don't want any unspecific or non-specific interaction of DNA with the polymerase, therefore it is done. Let's see the touchdown PCR. In this type of PCR, the annealing temperature is gradually decreased in later cycles. The annealing temperature in the earlier cycles is usually 3 to 5 degrees Celsius above the standard, that is Tm of the primers, while in the later cycle it is below the Tm. What is Tm? It is the temperature at which half of the DNA is melted. So such temperature is used for the touchdown PCR. The initial higher annealing temperature leads to the greater specificity of primer binding, while at the low temperature it permits efficient amplification at the end of the reaction. Assembly PCR, it is also known as polymerase cycling assembly or PCA. In this type of synthesis of long DNA strand structures by performing the PCR on a pool of long oligonucleotide with the short overlapping fragments. To assemble the two or more pieces of the DNA into one, it initially involves a PCR with the primer that have an overlap, and second PCR is also done, and using both the products, the final fragment is amplified, and therefore it is called as the assembly PCR, and this may be substituted for ligation based assembly. The last one, let's see, that is colony PCR. That is, bacterial colony are directly screened by PCR. For example, the screening of correctness of DNA vector construct etc. can be done directly. The colonies are sampled with a sterile pipette into a small quantity of cell and transferred into the PCR mix. The PCR mix is already having a buffer which denatures the cell wall or the membrane of the bacteria, and it reveals the DNA inside it, and the DNA directly binds to the PCR mix and the PCR proceeds in this manner. This kind of PCR is a very portable PCR which can be used in a very long extreme places where the wildlife photographers or the scientists which are on field can be used here. They can use this kind of PCR to detect the result immediately whether a particular DNA fragment is present in a sample or not, animal sample or plant sample or not. Now let's see the applications of PCR. There are lots of applications of PCR. It's a very important technique. It is used to amplify the DNA fragments that is isolated from organism. This is first and foremost application of PCR. It helps in propagation of DNA for manipulation and DNA libraries. It is also used in sex determination of embryo. It can be used for detection of or mapping of genes. It can be used for the preparation of probes. It is used to detect genetic diseases or viral diseases etc. It is used to sequence the DNA directly and used in forensic sciences and DNA fingerprinting. Therefore, it makes the very important technique that is in molecular biology. Therefore, PCR is a very important technique and it helps in lots of molecular biology work. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, please press like button, share, comment and subscribe the channel. Thank you so much.